Welcome to Getting to Know God. This is day 124 and we have 365 stories for every single day this year. We hope you're enjoying the series. Please like, follow and subscribe so that you can get notifications every time we post a new story. So today, day 124, and the title is Food and a Sword. It can be found in 1 Samuel 21. When David parted from Jonathan, he thought hard about where he could go for safety. He had no food and no weapons, but he did not dare to go back to the palace or to his home for supplies. Suddenly, he made up his mind. He could safely trust the priests of God. They lived in a shrine at a place called Nob. So David quickly made his way there. When Absalom, the priest, saw David coming, he hurried out to meet him. He was surprised to see him alone. "Where are your men?" he asked. David was suddenly afraid to tell him the truth. "I'm meeting up with them later," he lied. "I'm in an urgent errand for the king. I left in such a hurry that I brought no food or weapons. Could you help me?" "We haven't any bread in this place," Absalom answered. "Only the sacred bread that priests alone are allowed to eat." "Please give me that," David pleaded. "My need is urgent." "Very well," Absalom agreed and got the loaves. "Have you got a sword?" David went on eagerly. Absalom smiled. "We don't keep weapons at God's shrine," he said gently. "But we do have Goliath's sword here. We keep it in memory of the great victory that God gave the Israelites through it." "That's a splendid sword," David exclaimed. "Please give it to me." Absalom unwrapped the great sword and handed it carefully to David. With food to eat and a weapon to defend himself, David went on his way more cheerfully. But Absalom was not the only person who had seen David. Someone else was watching and listening. What do you think of that? The truth is, there are always going to be people watching you. Whether you want them to, whether you ask them to, there is always going to be somebody watching and trying to listen out to what you're doing or what you're thinking about. And so it's very important to think about when you use your words and protect your words. Protect your actions, protect everything that you're doing until everything is completed, and then you can showcase it because you've done all the work. So it's with great ideas people are having nowadays, or reinventing things that they've seen or heard. It's important that they keep themselves quiet and do not necessarily share, because if you share with the wrong person, then your information will get out, and somebody else who has the tools and means to get things done more quickly than you can will be able to be in front of you, in front of the curve. And so it's important not to give too much when you have something new that you're trying to bring to the world. But it's also important to think about who you're sharing with. As we learn in the story, David had to think about who he was going to go and ask for help from. And he also was in a quandary as to whether he should tell them the truth. He decided at that moment not to tell them the truth because that help may not have been as forthcoming. And so there are times in your life where you will need to lie to protect your situation, to protect yourself. Although we are taught and we encourage people not to lie, we know that in order for the outcome that you desire, we know that people are going to lie in order for you to get the outcome. It's human nature, it's embedded in our DNA, it's a default. It's based on us having that default of sin, and although it's not a good thing, sometimes it is beneficial to us as individuals. And so, as we saw in the story, David lied in order to fulfill the needs that he had, which was about having some weapon to protect himself and some food. We know the backstory. We know that he's fleeing away to keep himself alive from the king. The priests do not need to know that right now, because God has set out for him that he would be king in the future. So because he had those two bits of information, the information of what was happening before and the information of what's going to happen in the future, he doesn't need to share all of that with the priest or whoever it may have been that he went to ask. He decided, let me keep that to myself and just make sure that I get the equipment and the things I need. And so I hope this rambling helps you to think about the times that you have lied and to analyse and say, was that okay? Because there's times where we do lie and it's not okay to lie. It's not okay to lie, and we need to humble ourselves and ask for forgiveness. But there are times, like in this situation, where he had to make that decision. Tell them the truth, which would have been a long story before and after, or just give them a little bit of information so that he could get what he needed. And that's what he did. I hope this helps. God bless you.